Well, guys, it's time to get to the sequel, The Houses October Built 2. Now, The Houses October Built 2 came out in 2017. It's a 4.5 on IMDb, directed by Bobby Rowe, once again. And shooting this review right after I did the review for the first movie, so these reviews are probably going to be very straightforward. But The House October Built 2, I remember when this movie came out on Netflix, and I pretty much was like, you know what? There's a part 2 out. I better watch the first 2 before there's a part 3 out and there's a part 4 out, because the same thing happened with Sharknado. I'm like, nah, I'll not watch Sharknado. Then part 2 came out. I'm like, it's alright. Then part 3 came out. I'm like, I'll watch it later. And then part 4 came out, and I'm like, alright. Let me watch these movies before they make 20 more sequels and I miss a story. But I think I started watching Sharknado and I really didn't enjoy it that much, to be honest. Like the first movie, and there's like 7 or 8 now. It's like Tremors. Like, why is there 6 Tremors movies? Like, really, the first one was good, second one was good, third one I haven't seen, fourth one I haven't seen any of them past part 2. So it's like, why is there 6 Tremors movies? I think I started watching part 5, and it was really, really, really boring. But this movie, The House October Built 2, gets a 4.5. I don't really agree with that. It's not really that bad, in my opinion. It actually does a pretty decent job of trying to follow up the story of the first movie. I really don't know why it would get a 4.5. It's not that bad. I will say this movie is a step down. It is a step down. It does have a pretty decent amount of problems with it. But I can say overall this movie is decent. This movie is a decent sequel. I don't know why it has a 4.5. It's not that bad. But basically this movie, I said it in the first review, I'll say it in this one. Spoiler alert starting now. Spoiler alerts. But this movie picks up right after the first movie. You have one of the Blue Skeleton members burying these guys alive. He's burying the girl, and they're recording it. And I forgot to mention this in the first movie. They were making pretty much an internet show. They were filming this stuff for the internet. And in this movie, a cop shows up, arrests one of the Blue Skeleton members, but he disappears. The cops dig up this girl, the lead girl from the last movie. And basically, it's a couple of years later. You find out that this movie basically follows, because when they filmed that, it was uploaded on YouTube. It's called Coffin Girl, and it became this really big deal, and it blew up. So these guys are going to try to get together again. I guess they all got pretty much saved from that night. And they get together again. They all say that they want to go out and, film one more time, the haunted attractions around the world or around the U.S., And of course the girl's like, well, no way, I got buried alive last time, I'm not going to go back. But they go without her, and for a while they start going to different haunts. And in this movie, one of the strengths is that they really did up the game on the haunted houses in this movie. You have haunted hay rides, you have haunted walkthroughs, you have haunted dark rides, you have haunted races, you have zombie races, like people running a marathon through a zombie apocalypse, which was really freaking cool. You had zombie paintball, which is available in my area. Actually, I haven't done it, but I heard it's pretty fun. Zombie paintball. So you had that. You had all kinds of creativeness as far as them exploring the haunted houses in this movie. But basically, they start doing that, and then finally, the lead girl joins them again. And they start going on more haunts, and they continue to see these Blue Skeleton members. And at first, it kind of creeps them out, and they kind of just, shove it to the side and don't pay any attention to it until it starts getting really obvious. And then they start wondering about who these people are, why they're doing this. And it ultimately ends them on a goose chase again. They're once again finding clues about where this ultimate haunt is. And I like how in this movie they actually gave They actually gave the Blue Skeleton scare group a really cool haunted house in this movie, which I'm trying to get this picture pulled up here because it's called something, but I can't remember the name of it. It's called Hellbent. The haunted house they run is called Hellbent. And basically they hear about this house, they start trying to find it. I like how there's like one line in the movie where they say, "Oh yeah, our next couple of haunted houses, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and the Haunted Hoochie." And I was like hoping this entire movie they'd go to the Haunted Hoochie. And just to hear that, here they almost went to the Haunted Hoochie. I was like, damn, man, because the Haunted Hoochie is, it's where I live. So, it's in the area. It's in Ohio. So, I know a lot about the Haunted Hoochie. I've been there twice. So it's a very local haunt. But when they mentioned that, I was just kind of like, oh, damn it, man. Because if they would have went there, it would have been so cool because I've been there twice. Don't live, like, super close to it, but, I do go to it in around October. And, basically, they continue on with their haunts. They start, hearing more and more about Hellbent. And then finally, they end up getting to this haunted house end of the movie. And this is where a lot of problems pop up. I mean, first of all, we already have a lot of problems. First of all, why is this lead character going back to the same thing that got her kidnapped and buried alive in the last movie? Why are these characters doing this again? They almost died. They were all buried. They were one of them was buried. The other ones were in coffins. They could have died. And they go and do this again. With just because we're okay and nobody died, so we're going to do it again. It's like, no, man. If I was buried alive, or if I didn't know where my friends were and we went to some haunted attraction and people was tying us up, putting blindfolds on, pushing us around. I know there's a place called McKamey Manor, which is where they basically do simulated torture on you. But to me, that's not really what interests me about haunted houses. What interests me about haunted houses is walking through and seeing the special effects and seeing the atmosphere and experiencing the haunt. But if I went through this and I didn't, first of all, they didn't sign up. The thing is, McKamey Manor, you guys signed a contract. These people didn't sign anything. These people just came up, freaking put bags on their head, put them in a bus, drove them out, and dropped them off in a random place in the middle of nowhere. Like, if all this crap happened to me in the last movie, I would never step foot in a haunted house ever again. Hell no, never again. So, why they do this in this movie, I don't know. But when they get to Hellbent, they get in there, you have some really cool visuals. I love the way it looks, like an abandoned building. It looks like they shot in a real abandoned building. It looks really awesome. Graffiti everywhere. It's very dark and brooding. Really enjoyed the haunted house. And they get in there, and most of them get, kidnapped and disappeared. The lead girl's the only one that's left. She's being led around the haunted house and being chased through until the end of the movie, where she goes to this one area. It's like a courtyard area, and there's the Blue Skeleton members all around her. And she pulls a gun out of this chest and shoots herself. Now, when I seen this movie, I legit thought that was the ending. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, why a suicide ending? And then the really big problem in this movie happened. Because these guys take their masks off, and the Blue Skeleton members are actually her friends. I already said spoiler alert, so if you got to this point, you're like, why'd you spoil it? I already said spoiler alert. But they take their masks off, it's her friends, and they said that it was all just a big setup. They were working with the Blue Skeleton crew, the Blue Skeleton people, the guys who run the haunt. They were going to work with them to make another viral video, because the first time around, they actually were working with them as well, and that made a viral video. So this time around, they're going to do it again, make a viral video. But the girl actually didn't commit suicide, and it was just a fake gun. It was a blood pouch in the back of her head, and she says, "Oh, well, now you guys aren't getting the last laugh. Now you guys aren't going to get all the credit." And then the end of the movie is basically the cameras zoom out. They zoom out, and the Blue Skeleton crew, or Blue, I don't know why I keep calling them that, but the Blue Skeleton members are filming this on drones and stuff, and filming it with cameras, and they're going to put it on another internet show, and it's going to blow up this time for them. I'm just like thinking, like, man, what kind of an ending? I don't know if they was trying to shock us. I don't know if they was trying to confuse us. But this kind of ending does not work. Because first of all, it really makes you not like these characters. And you're just instantly like, man, wow, they're all assholes and they're all dicks. Like, why would they do this? You know, they're all douchebags. But not only that, but you gotta think back to the first movie and all of this movie as it being a setup the whole time. The whole time. There's two things that piss me off that horror films do. And that's an ending where, oh, it's all a dream. None of it happened. The whole movie was pointless. Nothing happened. It was all a dream. That pisses me off. And when movies do shit like this is the one thing that really pissed me off in this movie, was when they do an ending where it's like, boom. It's out of nowhere. It's totally just boom. Right there. And you either accept it or you just hate it. And for me, I can't accept an ending like this, because it's just like, it just, there's no build up to it. There's no, it's supposed to be a twist, but it just, in my opinion, it's one of those twists that just does not work. Because to me, it doesn't make sense. It contradicts the characters. It contradicts pretty much the whole story. It makes the whole story pointless. It makes everything that led up to this moment pointless. And it was a really, 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 really bad ending. But to talk about this movie more in detail, or to talk about more stuff I didn't like and liked, first of all, I will get the positives out of the way. Character chemistry is back again. These characters are actually really likable up to the ending, and the acting was pretty good. The haunted attractions were bumped up in this movie. I liked that. The idea of a hell-bent haunted house, this ultimate haunted house that looks the part, seems the part, and pretty much is the part, I like that. What I don't like about this movie is the freaking ending. There's no really suspense. There's not really a build-up in this movie at all. There's no tension. There's no anything in this movie. So now you don't have blood and gore. And now you don't also have suspense. So there's no weight to this movie. There's certain points where even the atmosphere just doesn't feel really good. The camera quality in this movie is upgraded. And to me, that was what made the previous movie had atmosphere. That realistic look. That realistic feel. And you have silly stuff in this movie. That you have one of the Blue Skeleton guys is on the bottom of the RV, and he pops his head out, and he's like taking the RV down this road. He's like in the RV with them, or under the RV, and it's going down, but it's pointless because it leads to nothing. Characters doing this again. Why would you do this again? So that's what I mean. This movie has a lot of problems, but I mean, overall, it is a decent movie. It does have some good acting, good chemistry between the characters. It does have a pretty cool haunted house idea. But to me, it's a decent sequel. It's not as good as the first movie, but it's a decent sequel. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much my thoughts on those movies for tonight. I hope you guys read the reviews, and I will see you guys in the next review. The Explorer of Horror is out. See you guys later.